Man, I just watched the Batman tonight and making my review on this film. Uh, gonna be honest with you guys, this is my first time watching a Batman film in theaters. By the way, never really got to watch the Dark Knight movies in theater. Um, I'm a Batman fan. Batman's my second favorite comic book character behind Spider-Man. I love Batman. He's got some of the most peak storylines in literally comic book history. You check the comic books. This movie for me is a masterpiece. Like straight off the top, way the movie begins, really from end. It didn't feel like 3 hours to me, to be honest. It didn't feel that long. Like I was so invested in this film. It's really a thriller. I love the detective of Batman, because we never seen Batman detective wise in previous installments. And this is coming from a guy who is a Christian Bale fan. I think Christian Bale is, before this film, was the GOAT Batman. I'm not going to come here and say that Robert Pattinson is better than Bale. I want to say, because, again, this is Robert Pattinson's first outing as the Batman, but I thought he was on par with Christian Bale's performance in the Dark Knight trilogy. I thought the way Pattinson embodied Batman and Bruce Wayne um, was incredible, man. And I'm gonna. There's gonna be spoilers in this, so if y'all haven't watched the film, bro, go watch the film and then come back. But straight off the bat, I want to go into this film. Matt Reeves, you are a legend, bro. I already knew this film was gonna be like cinematography wise good, because after looking at, I saw the trailers. Because I'm pretty sure the same cinematographer of this film did Dune. He also did Rogue One, and I forgot he did another film. So I know it was gonna be a shot film, and it was. It was very, like, the way the scenes were shot was amazing. As I'm a nerd in the movie industry, like how, like, movies and cameras and stuff like that. I love films that have this kind of shooting, the way the films are shot. But that's besides the point. The way this film starts off is just the Riddler literally is amazing. Paul Dano's Riddler is amazing. Literally the first scene in this film, we see the Riddler murder the mayor, and the way that it's done in a horror way, which is fantastic. And then we obviously see Batman narrating, talking about how he's installed fear, and we see that every time it's nighttime, every time the bat signals in the sky, it's fear. Everyone is expecting, in every corner, in every alleyway, the Batman to come out. And the way that was shot, the way the score was playing in the back, 10 out of 10, bro. It was just like beautiful to see that. And then seeing Batman beat those guys up and say, I'm vengeance, to me was incredible, bro. And I really just like this film a lot, man. I think they started off, it just gets you invested right away. It gets you, we don't need to see another origin story. It already tells us that, yeah, people are scared of this motherfucker. He is the truth, bro. And I fought with that heavy. I really do. Throughout the film, I never really like had a problem with the pace. I thought the movie, I loved the darkness, the grittiness of this film. Look at me. I love dark comic book films, and I wish we had more of those films. I'm a guy. One of my favorite comic book films are Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight, Logan. I love the Raimi trilogy. I love the Nolan trilogies. I've basically watched every single comic book film made, and I think this just stands out to me so differently than other comic book films. And I remember there was like a review earlier this year, like I think a couple months ago. Someone said that, oh, the Batman is like Spider-Man 2. It's like The Dark Knight because it's that different, and I agree. I think this film is going to revolutionize comic book films again, because I just if I watch another comic book film, I want it to be like this. Like, this feels fresh. It feels like it's a comic book film. I love it. The thrillerness of this film, the detectiveness. You were so invested in what was gonna happen. Who else was gonna get murdered? Who else? Like, it felt so amazing. And the cast in this film, everyone killed their role, bro. I did not have, in the beginning of the film, I wasn't really messing with Jim Gordon, but I grew with Jim Gordon. Like, he grew more onto me, and I loved the relationship between Jim Gordon and the Batman. And you can even see overall in the film, the Batman cops don't fuck with them in the beginning of the film. As the film progresses on, the cops, they're starting to appreciate Batman more. And I'll get to that a little bit later. But I love the story about the Riddler and his riddles, and the twist of that, of, Falcone. The Falcone, I loved his character in this film. I think like my friend says that is his favorite comic book is his favorite film in 5 years, and he doesn't watch a lot of comic book films. He watches the good ones. That shows you how good this film is. But the Riddler Falcone, I loved his character in this film. He was just so badass, and you just hated him. And just the twist of like the whole riddles, the mystery. It felt like I just loved how it was done. Like, obviously, there is action in this film, but it's not like those type of films where it's like big CGI fight scene between a villain. No, it's not like that. The Riddler and the Batman, they don't fight at all. It's not like the type of film where both of them get in a fist fight. It's a mind film, a thriller film of the Riddler playing the game, and basically the Riddler and the Batman are connected. The similarities, because the Riddler even said later on in the film that he's inspired by the Batman's vengeance. He's inspired. Batman has inspired people like the Riddler to do these things because of vengeance. Because the Riddler, he's crazy, but he was exposing the corruptness in Gotham. Him and Batman were exposing the corruptness, but Riddler was just doing it in obscure and extreme way. And he was basically Batman vengeance, but crossing the line. And I like that because it's like the Batman's no kill rule has always been like, if I kill someone, I'm no different than these other people I'm catching. And, it's just, I think the Riddler just embodies that perfectly. It's like the Riddler is a guy who's inspired by vengeance, but who actually goes overboard. I'm getting a little carried on by saying that, but like I said, it's shot so well. And every time the score is on this film, it is amazing. Like, bro, the score in this film is fantastic, and I just love that score. It's like, it's already a classic score. I put in the same category as Hans Zimmer's Batman Dark Knight score. I put in the same category as Danny Elfman's Spider-Man. The Avengers themes. It's just... Catwoman in this film is incredible. The chemistry between her and Batman is amazing. Jim Gordon and Batman's chemistry is probably the best out of every movie. There's no knockoff to the Jim Gordon and the Christopher Nolan trilogy. I love Jim Gordon and the Christopher Nolan trilogy, but I thought the chemistry in this was better. I just think that this is a film where it was one of those films where it's like, it's a serious film. There's not that many moments where you get up in your seats and you clap. It's a film. It's a film of art. It's really cinema. And I think this film should be winning some awards. Yeah, but going on to the Riddler, I think he's such a great villain because of the riddles. They all make sense, and they lead to something. And obviously, it ties into the Waynes. Thomas Wayne, the whole conspiracy of Wayne, Falcone, the murder of Wayne. And then you can see that it gets serious for the Batman. We see Batman vulnerable. We see, like, my biggest problem with Ben Affleck's Batman is we never saw that motherfucker vulnerable, bro. Like, I feel like this Batman, we got to see inside the mind of Batman, how his detective work, him being vulnerable, with Alfred getting almost killed, him getting feelings for, Catwoman, Selena, and then him obviously feeling vulnerable because he is connected to this story. He's connected in his stories both ways. He's obviously the Batman and the Riddler. They're both connected into finding the truth, but his other persona, Bruce Wayne, is so connected because the Waynes, the legacy of the Waynes. So that was one of my favorite parts, and there's a big twist in this film. Very big twist is of the Waynes, the Waynes being corrupt, I guess, and then obviously Alfred tells, Bruce. That's such a beautiful acted scene, man. A lot of scenes just, like, there's a lot of cuts in the scene, so they'll speak, they'll cut it, another angle. That scene had no cuts in it. You can tell that it was shot in one single formation, which was fantastic, bro. And then obviously the biggest twist of this film, even my friend, he didn't understand this. I had to tell him after, but the Riddler did not know who Batman was. People thought he knew who Bruce Wayne was. No. He was trying to kill Bruce Wayne because he thought Bruce Wayne was just like the rest of them, a rich orphan. Oh, he's not an orphan. He gets to live in the mansion with all these $1 billion. He was trying to kill him. The Batman, he didn't know that. People say, I remember one of them scenes was it's in the prison, and I love that scene as well. It really reminded me of Heath Ledger and Christian Bale's famous scene of "Where is she?" and the famous line of "I'm not a monster." But he says Bruce Wayne a couple times, and I know everyone's probably like, "Oh, he knows." No, he doesn't know. He does not know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He says, "Oh, I tried killing Bruce Wayne, but I couldn't get to him." That's a big twist in the story, and I like that. Because I kind of like that he didn't know who who Batman was. It just adds to the riddle and just makes it even more emotional for the Batman. And I love this film. Like I truly love this film, and it's one of my favorite films of all time. Um, I don't have anything bad to say. I really don't. Like I'm real with films too. Like I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat shit. Like I'm real with films. Pacing wise, like I didn't even feel a problem with the 3 hours. Like, it felt pretty short. My favorite scene is when the city is getting bombed and the Riddler's talking to Batman. He's like, "You inspired me. I'm vengeance." And then Batman's like, "Nah, you're nothing like me." But reality is, Batman, he's not changing stuff right now. He's increasing violence and stuff like that. Vengeance is like, people are terrified of this guy, and I think that's when he really truly realizes that what he's been doing these past 2 years isn't really helping. He's the reason why the Riddler's killing everyone. He's the reason why the bombs are going on. And then my favorite scene. I mean, the action in this film is incredible. By the way, I forgot about the scenes. I gotta go back. The car chase between Penguin and Batman was incredible. Penguin was an amazing character. I cannot wait to see more of him in the future. He was fantastic. But Catwoman, again, I already talked about Catwoman. Man, Zoe's so hot, by the way, but she was incredible in this story. And again, one of my favorite scenes was when Batman, Batman, he's basically, one of my favorite scenes is of, how do I explain this? So it's the scene at the end basically where he jumps off with the rope to save the people. Then there's a lot of floods going on. He goes in there and he puts on the red light and he goes in and he saves the people. To me, I cried. I'm not gonna lie, I cried on that scene. I teared up a little bit because just the way, and shout out to Michael, man. His score, along with his score and the way it was shot, was incredible. Easily my favorite scene in the film. And it's just the Batman saving people. I love that. I think that's such a beautiful and emotional scene of Batman realizing that. And he even says, he's like, "I was vengeance. I have to be more. I have to be hope for these people." And him saving people, that scene was just truly incredible and inspiring. That reminded me of like what Superman should be doing. That was like some Superman shit right there, because I see a lot, But I love that scene because he makes him such a he's a humanized character. But overall, man, there's so many good stuff about this film. Obviously, the tease at the end with the Joker. I'm pretty sure that's the Joker, the Riddler. And the Batman and Catwoman go their separate ways. I'm sure Catwoman will be back for the future films. Here's the thing. I ain't gonna lie, Batman is a hero. He couldn't just dip the city. I know Catwoman's like, "You should come with me." He didn't. He rejected that offer, even though it's pretty clear that he is in love with her. He cares about her, and just overall, man, I want to say this film is definitely one of the best comic book films of all time. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say it's better than all these other films because it just came out. I do want to see this film maybe two more times before I kind of give a final statement on it. I do say it is definitely on the same tier as Spider-Man 2, as The Dark Knight, as Logan, Infinity War. There's so many great comic book films. I personally do not see any other comic book film this year beating this film. I know Doctor Strange is coming out. I don't think he's going to beat this film. I just think this is DC. Y'all need to let Matt Reeves do whatever he wants to do. Do not ruin this franchise. I'm very excited for the sequel of this film. I cannot wait to watch this film, the part 2. And I'm definitely adding the score to my playlist, man. And guys, it's a 10 out of 10 film for me. I love it. Y'all should watch it. It, in my opinion, is peak fiction. I love this film a lot. Every character in this film, every actor in this film is incredible. And the way just the Riddler, the villain, the arcs of the story, of development of the Batman. Because again, this is year 2 Batman. He develops, and at the end of the film, he realizes that he has to be more than vengeance. He needs to be a hero. Really, he wasn't a hero in the beginning of the film. He was just a guy who was just beating up people and thinking and putting fear into people, realizing that fear and that vengeance inspired criminals like the Riddler. So I like that film a lot. Cannot wait to see Matt Reeves' Batman sequel. Hopefully it comes soon. It doesn't take more years. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.